Welcome to DDL. I'm Justin. This is T. We're going to get into it.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Noticed my phone dinged right as we were getting into this, and I was like, oh, you got to check it. So.
Yep.
If you want to lead us off.
Not sure as far as topics go. As far as politics, hopping into the vice presidential debate between Vance and Walz.
If you guys watched it, put a 1 in the comments. If you didn't watch it, but you wanted to, put a 2. And if you didn't even want to watch it and you didn't, put a 3.
And if you didn't want to watch it and you were somehow forced to, put a 4.
Oh yeah, hey, I forgot that option.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see how many people actually let's get a breakdown. I like that. Did you watch it?
Did not.
Did I watch it?
I don't know. Did you?
Yeah, I did. I'm asking you, did I do something?
So I did, I would be a 3. Well, I did kind of want to watch it, so I'd be a 2. I wanted to, but I didn't. I did see some clips here and there. Read a lot into body language and stuff, but yeah, it was definitely, hopping off with my initial opinion, I was never really impressed with Vance as a vice presidential candidate. I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. Didn't really think he had much charisma. I just didn't think he was a good vice presidential pick. And then after watching just some clips of the debate, I was like, oh, okay, he really held his own. He really seemed to know what he was talking about. And he did his job. He made Trump look better, and he simultaneously made Kamala look worse. The clips that I saw of Walz were kind of strange. And again, just going surface level, so don't very limited knowledge of what went on through the whole thing. But the clips that I saw, very weird body language, very intense staring into the camera, and very intense staring over at his political opponent. Like he would be talking and he's just...
I can't even do the...
Yeah.
I gotta pull it down.
Right. Yeah, like the dog face gremlin type look. It was really, I don't know. It was... And just, of course, being somebody who only watched the clips, of course I saw him talk about how he's friends with school shooters. So all of that to say, from the clips I saw, I thought Walz was thoroughly outclassed by Vance. And I was, similarly to how I was surprised that Kamala was able to hold it together for a full debate, I was very impressed with Vance. And I was very... not really unimpressed with Walz, but just sort of like weary of him. I don't know. There's not really a good descriptor that I have for him. It was interesting. Anyway, as somebody who did watch it, what are your takeaways?
So I would actually agree with you. I thought Vance's Trump's VP pick was a bad choice, and that's one reason I wanted to watch it, is try actually seeing if how he would actually perform. Mm-hmm. The other reason I wanted to watch it was because I thought Walz was actually going to do good, and I thought he was going to mop the floor with Vance. And it did not happen. Yeah. It was complete opposite. So within the first, probably minute, I was thinking, okay, Vance actually might not have been a bad choice. Mm-hmm. And Walz, I guess I don't know why I was expecting Walz to perform like very well, because he performed on the level of Biden, Kamala. I thought he wasn't. So the biggest takeaway after getting done with all of it and them shaking hands and the wives coming out and everyone kind of just, I felt like that debate finally was a debate that America needed. Mm-hmm. It was actually really civil. There were no slings and arrows thrown at each other. Mm-hmm. There was agreement on the debate stage between it. They both recognize the problems. They just differ in how they want to handle it. Mm-hmm. But it was like they were actually having a conversation that America needed to have happen in front of Americans. Mm-hmm. And I was, for as much as I thought Walz did not so well, I will hand it to him and say that I actually felt like at that point there could be some unity inside the politics of America right now. It was a glimmer of hope. But I hope that little seed gets planted and we actually grow back into that.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're irreversibly torn apart, but man, it's just when you can't even agree on the definition of what a male or a female is, like it's really hard. Like when such fundamental things can't even be like, okay, we agree on that at least. For me, it's like I just don't see a road back unless there's hey, we got a little out of line and wacky, and so yeah, we can agree. You may feel a certain way. So just as one small example, let alone the whole microcosm of everything else, that we disagree on. But when we're unable to even agree on fundamental truths, I mean, there really has to be either somebody has to radically change their mind or somebody has to walk it back. And I just see how people are. We're too stubborn to be able to wholesale admit, hey, yeah, I got a little out of hand there. Just saying predators can go in bathrooms where little girls are. Isn't that crazy? No, that's not crazy. So all of that to say, I hope, genuinely, I've had the hope for years that we could solve this, but I've just seen the divide get more and more. And as somebody who was kind of in between trying to, online social media, hey guys, can we just agree like we want the best thing for our country, and then have both sides scream at me? I was like, okay, this isn't getting solved anytime soon. Yeah. Well, these people do this and it's just like, okay, never mind, I guess. Anyway,
yeah. So
hopefully we can get back there.
But
my thoughts of whether or not we actually will, I don't see it happening anytime soon.
So I usually am a little bit more black-pilled on whether or not we can heal the nation.
Yeah.
But I will say that was a nice white pill moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
But there were major things like I said, there was agreements. They both agreed that the shootings in schools is a problem.
Yeah.
But that's as far as the agreement went, right? Because
right.
Well, no, actually, I let me walk that back slightly. There was a little bit more of an agreement. Waltz doesn't want armed security at schools, which I personally think is insane. And Vance actually admits that he doesn't want armed security at schools. However, he recognizes the world that we live in and would look to produce funding for schools in order to better protect our children.
I think any school that wants to protect their children should do it in any way they see fit.
I don't think the government needs to be involved in that. Like that should be the local level decision, not federally.
Sure.
And if it wants to be done on a local level, the federal government should have a coffer for those schools to pull out of, I think.
Right. Yeah.
That's well, maybe not even on a federal level. Actually, it should be.
Even the state could fund it.
Yeah, because we could dive into, maybe that's a topic we should dive into. Like that would be a good 45-minute, hour-long discussion. Tax coding. How should taxes actually look? Sorry, going off.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, the school and the shooting stuff was there was some white pill in there, but there was also some pretty good disagreement on how to handle it. And I think how to handle it is the division between the left and the right.
Right.
But at least they recognize the fact that the school is not being secure is the issue. Vance did a great job. One thing I really want to shout out Vance for was bringing up on a national stage the mental health crisis that the United States is going through. And Waltz, unfortunately, did exactly what most Democrats do, which is you can't trying to say don't make mental health the issue. It's the guns that are the issue. Well, no. Vance wasn't trying to make mental health the issue. Vance was trying to showcase that we have a problem in this, and because we're having a problem here, we're also seeing problems in these areas arise.
Well, and that was the one clip I did catch. But yeah, guns aren't the issue. Mental health is the issue. When you kill somebody or when you kill yourself, you are the problem is there's something wrong up here because the nature of human, if you believe in science, the nature of human evolution is continue to feed and take care of at least yourself. Like continue to put sustenance in your body so you will continue to survive, hopefully to procreate at a future date. But, I mean, it's literally built into the genetic code. So when you do something that interferes with that, there's something wrong up here. And whether it could be 1,000 things, it could be trauma, it could be something happened to you. And and that's where I'd say we don't blame somebody because they have mental health issues, but it's fair to say, hey, mental health is the reason that these things are happening. And, COVID doesn't help. So many people lost connection with all of humanity because they were told to, because it's good for everybody and it's the most healthy thing we can do. I talked to a lady who had cancer during COVID. She lived in Denver. And when I went to people's houses to appraise, I generally did not want to put on a mask. I was like, let's observe social distancing if that's a real thing. But with her, I saw the head wrap. I immediately saw she had cancer, and I went, oh, let me go to my car. Let me go get my mask. And she looked at me, and she's like, no, don't worry about it. I said, what? Are you sure? I can go get it. And she said, no, it's fine. And she talked about her father, who lived in Wyoming, and he was a local at the bar. He was kind of like the norm of Cheers for some of you older people. He was the guy at the bar everybody knew by name and was like, hey, how's it going? And they shut everything down in his small Wyoming town that had less than 5,000 people. Well, she said that he ended up taking his own life because of the fact that when COVID happened and they locked everything down, they took away his only form of human connection with other people. And over the months, he slowly started to get worse and worse, and then he just took his own life. And she was like, the thing everybody ignores is they're talking about the physical health, but nobody's talking about the mental health aspect of how this affects everybody. And again, I go back to bigger picture. We're not talking about mental health enough. We'll bring it up and say, here, take your medicine, but beyond medicine, how can we fix the mental health problem? And that's where, being from a Christian background, I think there's a lot that goes into it. I think there's spiritual ramifications to it. I think there's demonic ramifications to it. I think that there's also the side of people need prayer, people need counseling, people need healing, people need restoration. People just need good people around them to build them up and go, hey man, I care about you, I love you. Because when the first 20 years of your life is nothing but hate and abandonment and drug addict father and gone mother who left, it's hard for you to think that you have much value. And so we as and I wouldn't even put it in a social program, but we as people need to be better about helping to build people up who have mental health problems. And I think it's the individual level, but as a whole, as a nation, I think it's a conversation worth having. But when Walls was like, no, it's the guns, no, that's the instrument that they use. You take away guns, it'll be knives. You take away the knives, it'll be what you fill in the blank. Humans will find a way to end their life,
or end someone else,
or end somebody else's life. Andre Waters had concussions. He was one of my favorite safeties growing up in the NFL. Guess what? He drank antifreeze. It did the trick. If you have a mental health problem, taking away the tool which you use isn't going to be the solution, because humans are going to find a way to do it. So it's not the tool that we should be focused on, which is all that the Democrats want to focus on, is the tool. It's like, okay, how did we get here? I think is the bigger conversation.
Well, I was actually just going to hit there, so I'm glad you're kind of doing it, tease it up perfectly, because you are right. The Democrats like to go after the tool. They do not like to lay fault at people.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, we need to be better at holding other people accountable.
Yes.
When I mess up, I'm hoping you hold me accountable, and vice versa. I think that is one thing that I think that would help out as well. And I like how you brought up the religious aspect in the spirituality that's needed. Even though I'm non-religious, I tend to agree with a lot of those philosophies. They make a lot of sense, because humans are a social construct, or not a social construct, or social being. Sorry.
Yeah.
And there are a few things as a social being that you need. You need community, you need purpose, and you need to have to feel validated or appreciated.
Yeah.
And I think religion does offer that in a lot of ways. And with the decline in the amount of religious people, and I'm not even talking Christians, I'm talking all religions. They all fill this need. There is a rise in mental health issues, but there's also a rise in physical health issues.
Yeah.
I do want to say that I think there is a tie between diet and mental health as well.
Sure.
And I also think that the amount of prescription drugs that people are taking is also it. The SSRIs are huge problems.
Yeah.
They do a job, but the United States has like 170 times more usage than the rest of the planet or something like that. Like we overprescribe drugs like insane.
Yeah.
And plastics.
Yeah.
Plastics are a problem. They're endocrine disruptors, and you're having less tea in men. That's been noted since in the 50s. I think the tea rate has dropped like 80% or something like that in men. Some crazy. Have you heard that? So all of this, I think, ties into the mental health issues. They all, So Vance wasn't wrong. And he was shining a light, and he even specifically said this is not the cause of it. He's saying, but this is a contributing factor that doesn't get looked at, and we should be getting looked at.
Well, and another thing I think that we overlook too is exercise. Exercise is a huge booster of the studies are in. Like it's a huge booster of the hormones and chemicals that make you feel good, that make you feel positive feelings. So when you're just sitting around on the couch not doing anything, look, every one of us likes to have a lazy day every so often. You know, it's nice to kick off and be like, I ain't doing anything today. But that was kind of like how I lived. Like I did not go to the gym for anything. And now I've been doing it for about a year now. Man, I feel so much better. I'm so much more in tune with like, okay, like I'm feeling some pain here. Maybe I should take a couple weeks off. Maybe let me try to rest and heal this. Or man, you know, your body starts kind of responding to you a little bit more, and not just like the check engine warning lights of, man, my kidneys hurt. Should I drink another gallon of vodka today? You know, those are the things that when you're not paying attention, you're like, I'm in pain. That shouldn't be happening. But more than that, it's being more receptive to, hey, when I work out, I'm in tune with what my body is doing in a physical manner, but it also, anyway, all of that to say there's so many ways that we can help improve mental health, you know, and just kind of like the weight loss epidemic. It's like, here, take Ozempic and that'll fix it. Like that is legitimately the stance. I don't know if it's the federal government stance, but they literally said what we recommend for children is drugs, not exercise, not eating right. But these drugs will help children to curb their appetite and lose weight. And when we get back to when we think that drugs are the only way to fix a mental problem, we're treating the symptoms. We're not treating the root of the problem. And you have to treat the root of the problem so that the symptoms don't pop up.
This ties directly into with the school shootings and everything that we were talking about.
Yeah.
The Democrats are going after the drugs. Rather than putting the onus, the accountability on the person,
right,
they would rather let that person do whatever they want.
Eat however they want. Yeah.
Eat however they want, and just be like, you do you, and be complete, and have no standard. It is also interesting that you bring up exercising. That's a good point, because you are right. I mean, I've been on my weight loss journey as well. I've dropped 13 inches around my waist. Proud of myself for that one. But I noticed that like I've gained 8 pounds in the last 2 weeks, but I lost another inch around my waist. It's so weird. And they always say don't look at the weight.
Yes.
And it's about inches and stuff like that.
100%. Yeah.
And it just frustrates me though, because I had a target weight, and I'm going the opposite way from my target weight. So nonetheless, humans were built to work.
Yes.
So when you're not working, you're lazy, you're lethargic, you get depressed.
Yep.
What happens when you get depressed? Most people want to eat.
Yep.
And they want to eat snacks, things that make them the
quick reward.
Yeah, quick reward. So then they gain weight, and then it makes it harder for them to work. Right. All of this stuff is a cycle, and instead of holding people accountable and breaking that cycle, we're doing things. So I think Vance was on a very good topic.
Yeah. And I think that's the bigger microcosm for all of the problems in our country. It's not just school shootings. It's not just health and diet and weight loss and overweight and obese and all that. It's every systemic problem that we see throughout our country. It comes down to, hey, there's nothing wrong with you. Let's give you the quick fix and kick you out the door versus, no, the problem has to start with me. And guess what? All sorts of other people are doing stuff to me that can be negative or positive, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's up to me to make changes in my life. to make a difference. And so if I'm not, it doesn't matter what other people do. If I'm going to be principled and do what I need to do to take care of my body, I'm probably not going to get overweight. Now, look, something may happen. Maybe I get in a catastrophic accident and I just, I'm not able to work beyond major issues like that or just tragedies that befall you. I understand those things. But for the most part, the principle is if you put in the work for yourself to get you right, other people aren't going to matter. The person that you're angry or mad or bitter at or who did that to you, that's awful. But the solution isn't continuing to focus your anger at them. The solution, and from personal experience, let me tell you, the solution is let me fix me. Let me fix what's wrong in my heart. Let me make sure that I'm not angry and mad and bitter at them, even though I might be justified. Let me make sure that the problem's taken care of. And when you're told you're just special and there's nothing wrong with you, well, guess what? You're not going to take any steps to fix yourself. Yep. You're going to say, give me my pills and let's go on and make it a merry day.
Yep.
Well, I feel better on the pills. You do? Well, I don't feel anything, which is better than feeling bad. Okay, well, that's why I used to drink, but it didn't fix anything. Because guess what? When I stopped drinking, the emotions and the feelings were still there, unprocessed for years. And it's like those feelings are still going to be there. Those thoughts are still going to be there. You got to deal with your stuff at some point.
And since we're on the topic, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Men need to get better at seeking professional help. Mm-hmm. And when I say get better at seeking professional help, now keep in mind, talk therapy is not for everyone. I'm not advocating everyone goes do that. Mm-hmm. There's some men that do really well with getting involved in MMA fighting because they that physical exertion breaks down their mental barriers and they're able to help the person that they're fighting with. When they're done, they're reconciling everything, they can process.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying like there's a set way for everyone. Everyone has their different ways to do it, but you got to put in the effort to figure out what it is to help process and get over the stuff. Because as much as I'm a very capable individual, but as much as I'm capable, I recognize I have my own limitations. Yeah. And it is A-okay to recognize that you have limitations and seek someone else's help.
Yeah, and we all need help. We all need friends. We all need community. We all need family, and whatever family means. Your biological family might suck, and that's unfortunate. But there are people, the people in my life who I consider family, because again, I go back to I don't know who my parents are on my father's mother's side. She was found in a dumpster, and we just recently, within the last 20 years, found my mom's parents, birth parents. And so, but before that, we didn't even know who they were. So ultimately, everything that I have relied on is the kindness of strangers adopting and taking in family. So people are like, hey, don't you want to know what percentage of what you are? No, it doesn't matter. Well, that's weird. No, it's weird to me to be so tied to, well, I'm 12% Irish and 13, like I don't care, because the people who are my family who have taken care of me are people that I don't share genetics with. And so ultimately you have friends, you have extended family, you have people that you can go to. Or if you don't, finding somewhere where you belong, whether it's an MMA community. For me, church family has helped heal me immensely. They've helped me out of so many problems. And finding somewhere where people love and support you, that is key, because we can't do this all on our own. As strong as we want to be, we need help at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, like I said, I thought Vance brought up a very important topic, and I was a little disappointed that Waltz basically tried saying you can't demonize these people is essentially what he was trying to say. And I'm just like, that's not what he was trying to do in any way, shape, or form. At least I didn't take it that way. It sounded like he was saying like, we need to actually look into this.
Well, and again, demonizing guns. Like the shotgun that's in my closet, guess how many people it's killed? Not one, because it's just sitting in the closet. It's not the gun's problem. It is the person who. It's the person's problem.
Freedom Tunes. I was just thinking Freedom Tunes should actually do a little sketch about this, about a freaking shotgun sitting on the porch of a thing,
Right.
and having like the cops come up and like throw it on the ground and start beating it.
Right.
Like that'd be an excellent skit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Off topic again,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Immigration. I thought Vance did an excellent job breaking down the immigration.
I did see some of that as well. Yeah.
And then I do like the fact that they were not supposed to be fact checking. The moderators weren't supposed to be fact checking.
Yeah.
And when Vance made an excellent point about things, they decided to break that rule and fact check him. So he went ahead and corrected her.
That was the clip he told me to look up before we went on. And I saw that and I was just like, oh, cool. So you're just going to break the debate rule and then talk over the top of him and then cut his mic. It's like, just stop. Like the bias is so clear. Just stop it. I'm so tired of it.
The follow up the next day, where like they're the anchors on like news hosts and what, or the news channels and whatnot are talking about how he's trying to mansplain. I'm just like, he wasn't mansplaining anything. He was correcting an incorrect fact check.
Yeah,
that wasn't mansplaining. And then I was watching some Libby Evans was actually giving the take, and she's like, that wasn't mansplaining. He was just correcting what was going on. Like,
well, not just that. It's number one to correct it, saying, "Hey, we agreed that there would be no fact checks in this." You've broken your rule. So him even saying anything is just saying, "Yeah, that's not what we agreed to." But number two. Yeah, these are legal immigrants. It's like you checked a box online, and that's what makes you now a legal immigrant? No, that's never historically been the way that we determine citizenship status or legal status. It's a quick cop out, and for me, I'm glad he actually explained it because I never knew that before. And for him to explain, hey, yeah, what they mean when they say legal is they clicked a box online, and I go, oh, okay, so that doesn't sound like a just due process where they've followed the judicial system, they followed the immigration system, they've gone through the steps to be legally here. It's just it helped for me as somebody who didn't know any better to go, oh, okay, so you weren't necessarily lying when you said they were legal, but you were kind of lying when you said that they were legal.
well, it's interesting is what the form that he was talking about was a CPDB.
Don't ask me.
CPB.
I just found out about it 20 minutes ago. So
fair. That form was actually not intended to be used as the way that the Biden administration is using it. But they're using it that way so they can make the claim like, oh, they're legally here.
Right.
Well, they're legally here because you circumvented what that form was actually for.
Right.
That form actually, I found out, was used for importing of goods. So that way it wouldn't get held up in ports too long.
Oh,
And
so
somehow the Biden administration, the bloated administrative state, figured out a way to take that form and convert it to use for the immigration process. Very interesting stuff.
Well, I think it speaks more the big picture to their ideology.
Yeah.
They consider people as goods.
Well, I think that's pretty apparent. That Democrats do that. So yeah, that was a really important part of the debate. And then, like I said, overall, Vance just was very composed. He didn't attack. He was actually very cordial with everything. And there was a couple times where he could have gone. But I think when Tim Walz said, like, I'm friends with school shooters, which is insane. And he did eventually go on to correct it, I think, like 3 or 4 days later.
Oops.
That he meant, like, friends with victims of school shootings.
Those are
okay.
Those are
two different things, right?
I'm friends with serial killers. What? No. No, I mean I'm friends with not them, the people that they've
the families that were
family. Yeah. How do you mess that up?
I don't know. But the guy supposedly is notorious for misspeaking.
That's a bad one. Yeah.
But yeah, so instead of like correcting it, being like, "Did you just say you were friends with school shooters?"
Yeah.
He just kind of gave him a look like, "What?" and just let it go, which is probably the best thing you could have done because the media ran with it for like 24 hours.
Right, because that's actually true because Trump probably would have confronted it. But
yeah.
Sometimes the best thing to do is to let it sit there, and then, well, he didn't address it, and so we're not. They would have jumped all over Vance for, oh, well, you knew what he meant. But now, instead of saying vilifying Vance, they have to sit there and go, no. So, which actually makes it even more hilarious to me.
Yeah. So the next part that I wanted to cover is, you remember how in the Trump-Harris debate, Harris like says, "Oh, I never changed my stance. I've always held my same values," right? And we were talking about, like, it is appropriate. You can go ahead and say, you know, I grew and I learned, and you know, these things changed my perspective.
Absolutely.
Vance did it on stage in front of everyone.
Really?
Because they said, well, you were a diehard never Trumper, blah blah blah, right? They were pulling out his past.
Yeah.
And he's just like, look, to this day, I'll still call out him when I think he's doing something that I disagree with, that I was wrong. But I am fully prepared to admit that I was wrong. I thought he was going to govern way worse than he did. You know, his results, his actions actually spoke much more in line with what I would expect from my president. And he changed my mind. And I'm just like, dude, like, that was a very well thought out answer. And you're completely allowed to do that.
And same for me. When I saw Trump running for the Republican ticket, I went, what's he trying to do? I didn't trust him at all. I thought he was like a covert op Democrat trying to slip in to basically swing the party system and just destroy the Republican Party. Legitimately, that was my thought. And then I watched him govern, and I went, oh wow, okay. So yeah, you are allowed to grow and to change your mind, but it's the takeaway that I found was hilarious, kind of similar, little off topic from the debate, but I was telling you about the press conference they had with Joe Biden. Oh yeah. And you know how Kamala Harris has been, especially during the debate, was trying to do her best to distance herself from Joe Biden, and like, well, what I will do is completely different than what's happening right now, and we're going to make sure the economy's better, and here's what I'm going to do. Here's all the things. Here's my plan. And Biden was just like, oh yeah. Yeah, I talk to her every day. We're like best friends. We shoot the breeze all the time. And then anytime you see a policy or a plan change, she was instrumental in the passing of that plan and the formation of the ideals. I talk to her all the time. And sorry, I had to throw in some stutters and some stammers to get the real Joe Biden impression down.
But you failed, man, because we could understand what you were saying.
Right. That's true. I actually try to speak eloquently, but that's where it was so hilarious, because it's one of those things where I don't know if it's the dementia where it's like, hey, Joe, you forgot. She's trying to distance herself from you. Or if he's just straight up like, all right, I might have dementia, but I'm smart enough to know you jerks pushed me out. She's trying to distance herself from me. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to sabotage her campaign because I don't care. You guys pushed me out. It doesn't matter to me. I'm 84 years old. You want to take me out? I've lived 84 years. You want to destroy my political career? I don't care. It's over anyway. Like he's don't give a desperate man a reason, because right now he's doing his best to go, oh yeah, no, me and Kamala, we're like this.
He put on a MAGA hat, guys.
That's right.
Come on.
That now in light of what he just said about Kamala, that actually makes sense. That wasn't him being dementia Joe Biden. That was him going, come on, Trump. Take this broad out. I hate her.
I'm not lying when I say I think Biden's voting for Trump this year.
That would be amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
I would love that.
So you were just talking about how Biden is like this with Kamala.
Sorry.
And Kamala's trying to distance herself.
Sorry. We got to make America great, man.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
So they're like this, and Kamala's saying like she's the one that's going to change everything and fix everything, even though she's had 3.5 years. And Vance did a very good job of hitting that point a few times in the debate.
Yeah.
She has been a part of the administration. Don't let her fool you. She has been making decisions. I think she has the most tie-breaking votes given by vice president in the Senate than any other vice president in history. So she's not just the vice president is a lot, just kind of a symbolic role. There's not a whole heck of a lot they have to do. They are the backup for the president, and then they're the president of the Senate. So they really only have a few things: working on policy positions with the president and casting tiebreakers in the Senate. And unfortunately, she has done, I shouldn't say unfortunately, she has had more of a prominent role in a vice president than most vice presidents actually do.
Because of a unique situation.
Aside from maybe Dick Cheney. We all know that Dick Cheney was really running the country. Bush didn't have enough brain cells to run the country. Did I say that out loud? God, I really don't like Bush Jr.
Yeah, history has kind of proved he's kind of part of the problem, not a unique candidate that's part of the solution.
I will say that he was probably
Prescott Bush. Excuse me.
I will say he's probably a better choice than Gore would have been at that point.
Oh my gosh! Did you hear what Gore said?
No, what did Gore say?
Oh my gosh! This week he said, "Yeah, that pesky First Amendment's really getting in the way."
Oh, I did hear that.
Yeah,
that's right.
He literally said the First Amendment is in our way of distributing the information we want to distribute. Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Right.
The right to freedom of speech for all people is in the way of you doing what you want to do. I swear that these people, the older they get, they say the thing you're not supposed to say out loud.
Yep.
The thing they talk about in secret rooms behind your back when nobody's watching, they get in front of the cameras and you give them long enough time, they're gonna say the thing that they really mean out loud. Oh my gosh. Hey, that pesky Bill of Rights where you citizens have the ability to be free, that's really a problem for us.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why it's there, dude. Oh my gosh.
It's to protect us from you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Go, like,
Well,
as a Christian, I shouldn't say this, but legitimately go somewhere and not die, but just go somewhere and just stop. Stop being involved in our political system. Stop having powers. Just go somewhere and live out the rest of your days. I don't want to see or hear from you because you're an insane person who wants to take away the rights of American people for the sake of getting what you want personally. I cannot. It's such a mind-blowing thing. He said it out loud, and it can't be overemphasized how crazy that thought is.
So it is crazy that they did it for the First Amendment, but they've been doing this on the Second Amendment. I mean, even during the debate, Tim Walz is sitting there saying the guns are the problem.
Yeah.
And he's backtracking. He's like, oh, Kamala's a hunter and I'm a hunter. We have our gun owner or whatever the hell he said. And he's like, we're not going to go after the Second Amendment. Well, anything you do to limit the power of any person to have a gun. So if you're looking at the text of the Second Amendment, and maybe you won't agree with this tonight, but I do agree with this, that the way it's written, it says that anyone can own any arm, meaning nuclear armament, chemical, biological.
The right to bear arms shall not be infringed.
Which means technically a person could own a nuclear bomb. Now, do I necessarily agree with that? People should be going around owning nuclear bombs? Not necessarily. But the way the way the amendment is written, the government has no right to regulate in any way, shape, or form.
Reagan really messed up with that, with the actual automatic weapons ban. In '84. Yeah, that was a huge blow for the Second Amendment.
But the Second Amendment is getting stronger, though, because we got more and more states now doing constitutional carries.
Yeah.
I think we're at 26 of the 50 are now constitutional carries. You don't have to have a permit or nothing. The government can't do anything. I do think it's like odd, though. Like you can literally, you ever heard of that lady that had her gun in the car, crossed state borders in New York, got pulled over for speeding and let the officer know because he. In the state she was in, it's part of the thing. If you have a gun in the car, you need to let the officer know. So she let the officer know. Instead of letting her drive the 8 miles back or whatever the hell it was to go return the gun, he arrested her. She's still sitting in prison. It's like, yeah, these people are nuts, and they are saying the quiet power out loud more and more frequently. It seems like these days. Yeah. Gore with the First Amendment. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot that. He said that happened. I cannot.
Insane. And just said it 4 or 5 different ways. Misinformation's bad, so you shouldn't have the First Amendment right to say whatever you want. Guess what? I still have the right to say whatever I want, to let whatever words I want to fly out of my mouth. The reason that I personally don't is because I want to represent Christ well. And so for me, the things I say matter. And so, but guess what? When I wasn't following the Lord, I would say all the words because guess what? It's my right to. Mm-hmm. And whether you like it or not, whether or not it makes you uncomfortable, hey, that's a conversation we can have. But at the end of the day, my right to say those things helps to further a conversation either way. Hey, you shouldn't say that. Why? Oh, well, because of this. Okay, fine. We can have that conversation. But just telling groups of people, you can't say words. It's a step away from saying you can't think thoughts. Because if you take the words away, what precedes that? The thought. And what you're really trying to do is take away the ability of people to think freely in a society, and then to speak freely into a society, and then to act freely in a society.
Okay. So I know we're wanting to stay more on topic and whatnot, so I'm just going to give a brief snippet because I do now want to have this conversation. Neuralink, and whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing, and will the government try to confiscate it in order to control your thoughts? So we're not going to go into that right now. But
real quick. I've heard people say that Neuralink could be tied to the Antichrist prophecies in Revelation.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Okay, fair. So the last point that I want to make before we wrap this up, is on the immigration portion of this. I thought it was very interesting and very telling that they freely admitted that I believe the number was 70% of Americans are in favor of mass deportation.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised at that number. I'm surprised that they admitted it on national TV.
Well, you look at the Springfield situation where 10 to 20,000 people in a city that has less than 50,000 people. Like that's a hardship to anybody. And it doesn't matter if it's a hardship if you bring in 20,000 American citizens into a region that only has less than 50,000. That would be a hardship for them, even if they were perfectly assimilated, had all the same ideas, values, and culture.
Yeah, because the infrastructure's not there.
Yeah, it would just be plain difficult, let alone that, hey, we don't have necessarily shared common goals, values, or interests. Yep. And so, yeah, but all of that, areas that used to be in favor of sanctuary cities, it's funny because, I would see interviews on the street of like, New Yorkers, well, we should be kind and compassionate and no person's illegal, and I just think we should do something to help them. Hey, what would you think if they invited 8 immigrants to live in your house? Well, I couldn't personally help with that. I'm so, and my heart goes out to them. Okay, how about one? Well, no, and here's the thing is I can give financial, and it's like, oh, so you don't want one immigrant to live with you, but you want a town of 30, 40, 50,000 to be inundated and have more than a quarter of their population to be completely replaced. It's like, you say all the right things that sound compassionate, but as far as the outworking, I don't think that you're going to put your money where your mouth is. You're not willing to help out immigrants. You say you want to help them, but the follow through is lacking.
So this also ties into the same argument we had about the border wall, right? Walls don't work. But you guys all live in gated communities, so you guys believe walls work, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's the same logical steps. Like you're saying the things that make you seem compassionate to everyone else, but you truly don't believe it. You don't actually put it in, which is one reason like this ties back into like my issue with the climate change activists. They destroy the planet much more than a farmer does. The farmer is actually concerned with conserving that land or those animals, because those animals in that land are their future. It's their children's future. Whereas these people are just destroying beaches and stuff by having a big old party and calling it activism. It's frustrating.
Yeah. And so my biggest takeaway from the VP debate was, wow, I was greater than I was impressed by Kamala, because now looking back at the Oprah interview, I think there was major trickery afoot with Kamala to sound like a human for an hour plus. But with just the clips, and it's interesting because the clips alone have made me kind of want to go back retroactively and watch maybe not the whole thing, but a greater scale of the debate, because I was very impressed by Vance, more so than I was impressed by Kamala. But not just his ability to speak and be eloquent, but he really seems to know what he's talking about, and that's kind of rare. I think a lot of, especially for vice president, you can kind of duck and cover and kind of let the president lead for you. But he did a great job. And Walz, again, nothing necessarily wrong. Well, there was stuff wrong with what he said, but as far as the way he debated, there's nothing necessarily wrong. He just seemed off to me. He just seemed weird. He just seemed strange. And I go back to, he might have been more eloquent than either Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. But I mean, number one, that's not saying much. And number two, like, I go back to the ideas provably don't work. We've had 4 years with them. They suck. Mm-hmm. It's time to get some not even new ideas, some old ideas that worked for 4 years, and get rid of the economic ideas that didn't work and have actively been destroying our country for 4 years. Yep. And I want to be able to do my job, and when I go to people's houses, see them go, you know what? Stuff's still rough, but hey, I can feed my family. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm not worried about groceries for the month. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm not worried how many times I can fill up my gas tank. Mm-hmm. Those are the conversations I want to see when I'm interacting with people. And honestly, I believe that the Republican Party is the way forward on that. As much as we want to hold to our ideas and go, let's vote independent. Well, let's not throw away our vote in such an important time. Let's make sure that the economy can bounce back, that American citizens are taken care of first and foremost. And then from there, we can work on some other stuff. And who knows, maybe enough voting toward the Republican side will make the Democrats go, maybe we really do need to rethink some of these things. Because that's the only way that you can punish a party is go, hey, man, we're voting for you these other people until you decide to shape up.
There you go.
Shape up or ship out. And I think it goes back to, okay, well, shoot, maybe that would be one way as we open talking about, hey, maybe we can find some common ground. Hey, maybe if you realize we've lost 2 or 3 elections in a row, you know what? Maybe we went a little overboard with some of this stuff. Maybe we can find some more common ground again as American citizens. And I think that's really the only way forward. As much as hey, let's go independent. There's no perfect party. Let's try to get the best possible option in there.
Yep. So my final thoughts is I was impressed with Vance. I honestly thought he was going to do poor. I don't know why I was expecting that. I just truly thought he was going to be poor. Mm-hmm. I thought he did an excellent job conveying and articulating his thoughts and keeping in line with what Donald Trump's trying to accomplish. So in a lot of ways, Vance elevated himself to making, in my mind, as to being the proper pick for Trump as his VP. I thought Vivek Ramaswamy would have been a better choice. I thought Tulsi Gabbard would have been a better choice. I thought Vance was like super low on my list of persons I thought would be good. Mm-hmm. But after watching him, I fully recognized that I had that one wrong. Vance was actually, he took Donald Trump's messaging and put it in a form that I actually like to hear. I don't think when I listen to Donald Trump, I think he's funny, but and I understand what he's trying to convey, but I'm just like, dude, you're a dick, shut up. But actually hearing it from Vance, it was put in a way where I understood what he was trying to say. It matched exactly what Donald Trump's trying to say, but it was put in a form that was actually palatable to me. And I actually, holy crap, I could actually vote for this ticket now. He swung me to vote for Trump, potentially. I'm still thinking I might, since I'm in Idaho, I could still go and write in Vivek Ramaswamy. But whatever.
Let's dominate. Let's let our voice be heard.
But yeah, so I
punish.
Kudos to Vance for proving me wrong and actually doing a wonderful job where I would actually be willing to cast my vote for Trump Vance. Walz, surprisingly enough, I actually liked him. I thought he did an amazing job. I just didn't like his messaging, what he was trying, what he stands for. I don't like. I think his policies are wrong. I think they're flawed. But I truly appreciate the fact that him and Vance on that stage were willing to have a truthful conversation and come to an agreement. To me, that shows hope, and I truly thank Tim Walz, and I actually appreciate it. So you said it kind of makes you want to go back. I would highly encourage, if no one watched it and you guys are interested in politics, go back and watch it, because I'm really hoping we can get back there within the next 4 to 12 years. that'd be really nice to have all of our debates like that, where we start trying to work on how to implement corrections to the issues that we're all agreeing upon, rather than blaming each other.
See, I kind of want to go the opposite way. I want to get some of Diddy's baby oil and have him wrestle it out like WWE style.
Oh
Like,
God,
let's go. Let's embrace the idiocracy that is coming. Like, you talked about black pill. I've taken the clown pill. Let's enjoy it and laugh the whole way through.
The clown pill. Oh my God, that's awesome. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Drop some comments. Let us know who you think win. Again, 1, if you watched it and you wanted to. 2, if you wanted to watch it but didn't. 3, if you didn't want to watch it. What was 3 again?
And didn't.
And didn't watch it. And then 4 was you didn't want to watch it, but you were forced to. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know. I'm going to tally those up and let's see how many people actually do this.
Let's go.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Till next time.